Good morning, Utopian Baseball Universe. As you can see in the headline, it is my birthday, Eve.
Oh, happy birthday, Eve. I forgot you kept saying it's Saturday, so happy birthday, Eve.
Yeah,
What are
I
you going
mean,
to
I
be,
don't even know if that's a
21?
thing. Actually, 92.
Whoa, you don't look a day over 97.
I drink a lot of water. I get a lot of sleep.
That's the
But
key.
good morning, everyone. It is Friday, October 1st. Today is the start of the Division Championship Series. We've got a triple header on the network today, 8 o'clock. We've got the Durham Bulls at the Atlanta Braves at 1 o'clock. We've got the Washington Nationals at the Toronto Blue Jays. And then 6 o'clock tonight, the Cleveland Indians and the Cincinnati Reds, a triple header of action. I just posted a picture of our production truck in Atlanta. So an exciting day. And Stan Phillips is here, as he is every Friday, to help kick off the festivities. Stan, before we get to anything, I'm going to put you right on the spot. Who
Oh,
you
boy.
got in these series? Durham, Atlanta.
Well, I'm just going by names. I have to be honest with you, it's been a very busy week for me. I got a lot of catching up to do before all these games play. But being an old school baseball guy and a fan of minor league baseball, and I'm trying to learn it all the more, just the fact that Durham Bulls are in there, I got to root for Durham just on namesake alone.
All right. Who do you got? Washington, Toronto.
Ooh, I know, God bless America. I always root for the American city, so I'll go with Washington.
All right. And then we got Cleveland, Cincinnati.
Well, I'm a National League guy, so I'm going to go with the Reds.
All right. And then two National League teams in the West. We get the Padres and Giants for you.
Well, I think we kind of discussed this before, maybe even on one of your YouTube casts. As a Met fan, I'm crazy this way. The lineage to the Mets came from the Dodgers and Giants, so I always root for the Giants when the Giants are involved.
All right. So that's who Stan's got. The polls are up, and right now, as of right now, the universe is pulling for San Diego in the West series. It looks like they're going for Toronto. I think Cleveland, Cincinnati was tied the last I looked, and Atlanta, Durham, I believe, is Durham as well. So it's going to be interesting. We kick off at 8 o'clock this morning for Durham, Atlanta. Stan was at the Mets game last night. You saw a good one.
Yeah, and the good thing was I may have had the best seats I ever had for a baseball game because I do have a season ticket plan with the Mets, and my rep emailed me, said, come on and visit me if you're coming to the game. I went to the Met office, the ticket office, and he hooked me up with seats that were like 4 rows from the opposing dugout and all the bougie food I could eat. So it was fun, and they were smacking the ball all over the place. And it's not going to be about me and my experience, but I will tell you this. If you don't appreciate Major League Baseball, go to a game once and sit really close to the field, and you can see how fast that game is played. I couldn't even hit the ball, and I'm 50 feet away from home plate. It's coming in so fast. And just watching Pete Alonso, he jacked one out of the ballpark on line drive. Oh my God, when he hits that ball just takes off. Now I'm used to sitting up in the cheap seats in the upper deck, so everything looks slower, but you really do appreciate how talented these guys are. I mean, they play a game that I can't even comprehend playing out there. Just the pitching alone. And Rich Hill is not a flamethrower, but just watching the break on his balls and everything, it's just amazing. It's amazing how talented these guys are. So if anyone ever says major league players aren't talented, they really don't know what they're talking about. But it was a good time nonetheless. Thanks for bringing it up, and gives me optimism that maybe the Mets can turn it around next year. I think they will. I don't think those things will be as bad as they were. And Alonso's just a beast. I mean, he has really impressed me the last month or so.
Now I didn't see the game. I was getting alerts all night. Did they give Conforto a nice ovation?
Yeah, and actually, Conforto came through with a big hit when the game was still in balance. They actually, and this was a slap in the face to him because they intentionally walked Lindor with a guy on third base with 2 outs. And I'm saying, wow, there's only a guy on third base. And they intentionally walked Lindor, and then Conforto hit a line drive single that fell in front of the right fielder. So whether you're a big Michael Conforto fan or not, I always like it when the player gives the opposing team a slap in the face after the batter in front of them was walked intentionally and they get a hit. It was awfully rewarding to see Conforto get the hit. And the first time he came up to the plate yesterday, a lot of the fans gave him like a semi-standing ovation. So I think the reality was setting in that he may not be back next year. Yeah, they're going to spend money on big contracts to keep some of these guys. Conforto may be on the lower end of the totem pole. So, yeah, the fans were supportive of Conforto yesterday, and it was nice to see the reaction he got. It's just curious to see what unfolds now.
I was convinced when he was debuting, I forget what year it was, 15,
Yeah,
that he was going to win a batting title or an MVP. It didn't quite happen for the Mets. Hopefully he's got a bright future, whether it's with the Mets or someone else. I'll always love Michael Conforto, and it's good to see the Mets get a big win for him in what potentially could be his final game. Final home
yeah.
game as the Mets wrapped up their home slate last night.
And I convey your sentiments entirely because when Conforto came up, he was really high. That was big news when he came up because the Mets were struggling in 15, and everyone talks about like the Cespedes trade and everything like that. But Conforto coming up was almost as big a thing when you look at the big picture in 15 because Conforto hit well down the stretch and in the postseason too. But to show you how high I was on Conforto, Aaron Judge came up in 16 and he was smacking the ball all over the place. And I said, well, he's better. But then I was watching Conforto play the next 2 years. And my overall feeling about Conforto was he was as good as Judge because of his overall game. And I always said I'd probably choose Conforto if I got a chance to pick him or Judge. Now, Judge has evolved and become a great everyday player and defensively. And I'll be honest, Conforto's kind of declined as far as skill wise. But there was a time where I actually would have taken Conforto over Aaron Judge in like 17 and 18. So he has the talent and just has to get out of that funk sometimes.
So with the Mets finishing their season in Atlanta, what kind of plans do you have this weekend as far as sports consumption?
Well, again, my Sunday is usually NFL based. So what I will do is probably record the Met game and either watch it Monday or Tuesday, but just have it there because I know there's no more Met baseball the rest of the year. Tonight I'll probably watch them. I'm not sure if tomorrow's an afternoon game or not, but I'll in some way or another I'll end up watching the games. I'm just not sure if they're going to be live tonight. I'll probably watch it live, but you know, I watch as many as I can. I'd say I watch 90 to 95% of the games eventually of any given year. So eventually these eyeballs will be witnessing what transpires in Atlanta. I'm just not sure if it's going to be live or not.
I'm thinking, so I think every game on Sunday is 2:00 Central. As a Browns fan, I think they play at noon on Sunday. The Packers are at 3:30. I will have the final game on my phone. Mets Braves. Pretty much, I think the Braves wrapped it up last night. They wrapped up the East.
Yeah.
So all the divisions are wrapped up. I think the only two things, or no, actually the Giants magic number's 1. So they could wrap up the West tonight. But I think the AL wild card is the only thing that has to be determined. That we got 4 teams left: the Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners, and Blue Jays, all vying for those 2 wild card spots in the American League.
Yeah, the Mariners are now tied with the Blue Jays, not only a game now, and that's a shocker. That's a real shocker. The Red Sox just laid an egg. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Orioles. It was basically handed to them to win the division. Now the Rays actually play the same team. I think they played the Blue Jays actually play the Orioles 3 games. The Red Sox have the Nationals, and the Yankees have Tampa Bay. I think Seattle has the Angels for 3 games. So
yeah,
again, you could say these teams will win, but after what the Red Sox did, and I didn't think the Yankees would win 2 out of 3 in Toronto. So anything can happen this weekend. It's going to be crazy.
I want to see a 4-way tie for that American League wild card. They'll basically probably have to do like a bracketed mini tournament to determine the 2, right?
Yeah, they said the odds right now are almost like 100 to 1 to happen, but it can happen. So that would be unique indeed. That would be fun.
All right. Well, fans are starting to walk into Atlanta for Durham and Atlanta. So, game one of the South Division Championship Series coming up shortly. But before that, we've got 5 questions for Stan, as we do every Friday. And just looking at these right now, I literally have no baseball questions. We're going to focus on fun stuff here.
All right.
So Stan, of course, is the admin for the Baseball Away of Life, New York Mets Baseball Away of Life, and the fun stuff, which we talk pop culture, music, food, TV, movies. So we're going to focus on that today.
By the way, I have a question for you, Mr. Buckholz.
I would love to answer that question.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to give it now. Jill Buckholz, is she related to you?
That's my sister.
She is knocking it out of the ballpark. I think it's on the Jeopardy. We've added a new feature where at 7 o'clock we put up a Jeopardy clue.
Yeah.
And then we have a Wheel of Fortune, and she was like the first one to get 3 right, and I think it was in Wheel of Fortune, maybe. I said, "Whoa, does Pat Sajak know about her? She's been knocking it out of the ballpark." But if you want stuff like that, join the group. It's the Fun Stuff group and others. I don't even know the name. But look, just Google, go into Facebook, and it starts with the Fun Stuff group, and it'll call you up.
Yeah, my sister's really enjoying that group. I think I invited her earlier this summer, and yeah, I noticed she's killing it on Wheel of Fortune, and yeah.
Very smart girl.
All right, so here we go. 5 questions for Stan. Now, we're live right now on your podcast. Am I right?
Well, it's being recorded, and as soon as this is done, it gets uploaded, and you will find that on New York Mets Baseball Way of Life. And anything that I do with Joey will be on the podcast. Every day we do something about the New York Mets. And going forward, and I'm going to tease you about a tease we're going to be doing later on. There'll be other baseball related and possibly pop culture stuff going on there. And I think Mr. Buckholz himself will be involved in some of this stuff. So if you're not a subscriber, it's on all the podcast platforms. It's called New York Mets Baseball Way of Life. And all these little segments we do with Joey, our segment will be archived there. And we started that this past Monday. So even this show will be up there and probably in about 10 minutes after this show ends.
Sounds good. And Stan and I officially will have more details and an announcement coming a week from today regarding this fantastic collaboration that the world is talking about.
Well, not only the world, but Howard Stern feels threatened because he's known as the king of all media. Well, I think you are the king of all sports media. And it's so good to be partnered with you in this coming venture because the world is going to get to see Joey Buckholz in the Baseball Way of Life. He'll have access to do his stuff. And the reason why I'm bringing Joey is there's nobody that I would rather have. As you on the Utopian Baseball universe, you see every week how entertaining he is at interviewing. Has got a great sense for the camera, and it's going to be so enjoyable to have him aboard. But enough of that. There's going to be special programming we're going to be doing, and we're going to have some major announcements next Friday. Not all the major announcements. Again, a tease to the big tease, but we'll be revealing some of the stuff we'll be doing once the baseball season ends. So don't pack up your bags and say, I'll see you in March or April. We're going to be all year round doing stuff. And it's so good to have Joey aboard.
Very exciting for both of us and for our listeners and viewers. But the reason I brought up podcasts is the first question today for Stan is, what podcasts are you currently listening to?
And this is where I'm in a conundrum because there's only so many hours in a day. But just due to the fact that I basically run Baseball Way of Life and I have to have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on, my favorite one, believe it or not, is Buster Olney on ESPN. He has good guests every day on there, and he basically covers I think it comes up like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And the one I listen to most is his. Now I want to expand my horizons. And I want to get more into the entertainment field and stuff like that. So do you have any recommendations on a good podcast?
Well, I just listened to. There's two right now that I'm listening to on a regular basis that are they're not baseball related, but one is called Billy Joel or Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast, and the hosts are Jack Fernino and Michael Grosvenor. They're about 44 episodes in. They just cover albums, concerts, different years. So I'm really enjoying that. And then a podcast called Taste Buds with Sal Volcano and Joe DeRosa, and they just argue about food and pop culture, and it's really entertaining. And I think those episodes, Taste Buds drops every Sunday night, and then Glass Houses drops, I think, every 2 weeks, and I'm really enjoying those so far.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, I think podcasting is probably going to almost replace like radio in a way because you can listen to it whenever you want at any given time, and it's more content driven, specific content driven. So if you want to listen to something specifically, that's what you do when you search for a podcast. So yeah, I'm enthused about not only doing a podcast but just hearing others, and I'll have to check those out because especially the second one. That kind of stuff really entertains me. Just so like uh, just weird stuff. I'm not saying it's weird, but stuff I normally wouldn't think about when that's discussed. That's right up my alley. So thanks for recommending those.
Yeah, and Michael and Jack are members of the group, and yeah, guys, check out Glass Houses, the Billy Joel podcast. Fantastic stuff. Now, I probably asked you this question in the past, but I woke up hungry, Stan.
Uh
Traditional or boneless wings?
oh. Well, that's like asking gas or electric cars. There's no way I would ever choose a boneless wing. I mean, I've got, and you can put all the sauce you want on the world. Is that what you guys call it, Milwaukee sauce? Uh,
Sauce.
okay. All the sauce you want, hot, mild, whatever, on a boneless wing. It's still a boneless wing. I just love the bone. I guess you call it the bone-in wing, the bone wing. That is my favorite, and I'll take this one step further. Do you prefer the flat bone wing or do you prefer the meteor, like, like a drumstick type handled wing?
My preference for a traditional would be the flats.
Yeah, yeah. There's something about going in between the bones and sucking that out. It's just, ugh. I love my wings. I love my wings.
Yeah, with it being my birthday weekend, because we do it large. We celebrate the whole weekend. Gonna find a way to get some sort of wingage into this belly at some point.
Yeah, it's funny that game you went to last Friday at Milwaukee, so you probably didn't see the broadcast, and I'm not even sure if you were able to because it's a Milwaukee broadcast, and they probably black out SNY on like the package when they're playing the Brewers. But they kept showing the corridors in Milwaukee and all the foods they had to offer. And I think Keith even said that, boy, these people sure know how to eat here. They live large because they
Yeah,
don't worry about the calorie consumption at all. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, everything was cheese and brats and everything like that. So it was funny
yeah,
that they even made a comment how you guys eat party hardy over there.
Milwaukee. I mean, I don't know what the origins were, but I think Milwaukee pretty much invented the concept of tailgating here in the United States, and we do it really, really well. So last night, every night when I go to bed, I listen to music. And last night I listened to, I know we just mentioned Billy Joel. I listened to the Nylon Curtain album before bed. What was the last album that you remember listening to?
Ooh, now that is going to be a tough one because unfortunately I've become the type of person that just plays songs that he likes to hear off of certain albums, but to listen to an entire album in its entirety. Now, I will say this, it's probably a Beatles album because the Beatles are one of the few groups that I'll listen to in entirety in an album. So I am going to say, because I do consciously remember this in the past month or so while I was working, because I work from home, so I can crank up the music, was probably Rubber Soul by the Beatles.
It's my dad's favorite album.
Yeah. No, it's amazing because you just can't say, okay, I want to listen to this song off of that album. Well, if you listen to the entire album, it just flows perfectly. So, and I do remember consciously saying, let me listen to Rubber Soul on the computer here. So I have Amazon Music, and that came on, and I was happy as could be. So and there was another one after that. I don't remember. So probably I'll go with Rubber Soul by the Beatles.
Nice. My favorite TV show growing up was The Wonder Years, which ABC is reimagining. And I think it either just debuted or is debuting very soon. What is your take on remakes in television?
Well, I'm not a big fan of remakes per se because the reason why I love a show is because of the original cast. And one show that, well, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, a couple of the guys I hung out with, they used to memorize The Odd Couple and The Honeymooners. And these guys knew every line from those TV shows because in New York, when we were growing up at 11 and 11:30, it was The Odd Couple and Honeymooners on Pix 11, where the Mets do their broadcast now. So it's the local station. So they had everything memorized. So I would, just to get involved, I'd watch The Odd Couple. Well, they've done The Odd Couple a few times since then, and it's been horrible ever since. And honestly, I can't think of one show that's been a remake that has actually blown me away and said, okay, I'd rather watch the remake than the original. And I'm trying to think of something that's a remake. Now, I heard The Wonder Years wasn't that bad. A couple Facebook friends said it wasn't that bad. But I can't think of anything. So my answer to your question is I'll always go with the original. How about yourself?
There are some exceptions. Like usually when I hear a remake, I kind of cringe. But like Ocean's 11's a remake. That was a musical with Frank Sinatra in the
Without a
early
doubt.
60s.
Well, if you're going into movies,
sure,
there's one, and people will disagree with me on this. I don't know if you ever saw Cape Fear with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
But he is so friggin' scary in that movie that I'd rather watch that than the original, even though the original was probably a better movie, just the acting by De Niro. So again, it has a lot to do with who the actors are in the remake. Movies are a different story for me because when they remake the classics that I never saw originally, that's all I know. And so I actually watched the original. But TV, I still can't think of anything where a remake is better than the original.
All right, fair enough. And then our final question: Saturday Night Live debuts season 47 tomorrow. Will you be watching?
Well, here's the funny thing, Joe. Because of you and the questions you asked about the 5 questions, and I had to jog my memory bank to actually think about some of the Saturday Night Live stuff. And I said, holy shit, there was a lot of good stuff. I totally forgot to even mention him when he was asking me these questions. So I have Peacock here, and they have one of the big selling points is when it first came out was having all these original Saturday Night Lives. So I've actually delved in and tried to pick one from like every year. And I don't want to watch it like one through, I don't know how many shows they have, 600, 700 probably even more than that over the years. But yeah, I'm trying to watch it and you realize how great a show that was. And like everyone else, like when it comes to music, today's music sucks and everything. Well, it may not be what you originally liked about music, but even like the modern shows have elements where if you just get used to it and give it a chance, you'll like certain people on the show, and you just have to get used to it. Things evolve, cast members evolve, and I will be watching it. And I'll be honest with you, kind of inspired me to get back into the Saturday Night Live thing because, like I said, I'm very impressionable. When it came, like I said, The Odd Couple and The Honeymooners, other people were watching it. It's usually by osmosis that it sinks into me. So yes, I will be watching it. If not live, I'll probably be watching it by the end of the weekend somewhere along the way.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be watching it as well. Owen Wilson, the host tomorrow. Fans are, again, filing into Atlanta. Stan, I want to thank you for being on the show again. We'll see you again next Friday with hopefully some big news. I'll see you Monday on Baseball A Way of Life. Everyone check out Stan's group, Baseball A Way of Life, here on Facebook. Any parting shots here, Stan?
No, and the reason why they should be, give it a test run, Baseball Way of Life, because the man who's hosting this show is going to be a major part of that going forward in a month or so.
All right, sounds good. So we got, again, Game 1 of the South Division Championship Series coming up here. Garrett Cole and Josh Gibson of the Durham Bulls versus Warren Spahn and Henry Aaron for the Atlanta Braves. That's coming up in about 3 minutes. Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you later today.
Take care, everyone. Thanks, Joey.
All right, have a good one.